Time for the Tesla and Palantir weekly update, and going to start here with Tesla on the weekly chart with the linear scale Fibonacci levels, the retrace levels, and what we can see here is from the all-time high down to the low, we can see that it closed another week right at the 702, not above, but just like last week. What did last week do? It closed at 321.22. This week it closed at 320.72. So the 702 is at 321.32, so now you can see how important that level is. So not sure if it's really ready to close above it or not, but the good news is it wasn't really a sell-off, right? Sure, it's a big red candle, but look up here. It's just right there. It says 0.016 down, only 50 cents. Week over week, it's only down 50 cents. That is not bearish. The momentum is still heavily in favor of the bulls, and this is really, really bullish. It just got rejected by the 786. We all know that this 786 is really, really strong resistance on linear scale from all-time high down to the most recent low, right? We know that's some powerful resistance. So once it can break above, then it can really fly. But until then, it might just consolidate for a little bit until it's ready to go higher. And not only that, I want to put on the Bollinger Bands here so you can see the weekly Bollinger Bands. It's still quite a bit above, right? A huge breakout. So it's just giving time for these Bollinger Bands to catch up to price. And that still sits there around 305.49, the bottom of that top Bollinger Band. It is expanding. This is what we want to see. We want to see expansion like the crocodile mouth opening, right? But we saw right here, it went up here and it kept on expanding too, and then it kind of fizzled out. So if it just gives it time for week over week to catch up to price, then this thing can just continue the momentum. So I think that's all it's doing. It's not getting ahead of itself. It's just allowing the Bollinger Band to catch up to current price. So that's all it's doing. So 305.49, we'll see how the Bollinger Band reacts next week to price. But as long as price can just keep, as long as the Bollinger Band can keep just pushing the price up as like a support, then that'll be a fantastic thing for the future. So I'm going to be really watching that Bollinger Band going into next week. But that's why I think there was just no big continuation rally today, just because if it did, it would just be super extended from that weekly Bollinger Band. So it just needed some time to let this band catch up to current price. And next I wanted to show you the linear scale GAN for this chart. I haven't shown it in a while. I actually didn't show it last week, but I wanted to show you today that it actually hit the exact orange part this week of the GAN. It hit there perfectly, right? You've been seeing this the whole time, how it broke out and then it tested the top of the arc and went back down, and then it went directly to the next level. That's just more proof that these lines are not random. Nothing has ever changed. You can compare it from the previous videos. Week over week, you've seen the development of this GAN unfold, and all of these arcs and these angles and these levels have acted as a perfect support or resistance level. And right there, perfect resistance. So now we know 358 really is the level to explode above, flip to support, and go. So 358, that's the key. When it gets above 358, I think it can really fly. But until then, it just might need a little bit more time to cool down, right? It was an explosive move. It's been actually an explosive month. Look at the past 4 candles here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really explosive month. We can just see how far it's gone in 4 weeks. Right here, it's gone up 50%, and even at the peak, it was up there 68%. So just give it some time to cool down. Nothing is over for this at all. It's just beginning. Things are great. And when we put the fibs back on, I'm going to just show you the log scale fibs real quick. One last thing. So when you see the log scale fibs right here, we can see that the 886 was rejected, and the 786 still has never been tested. So this is a possibility for price to go back. So I showed you the linear scale fibs before right here, right? The 702 is still kind of a resistance, 321.32, because 2 weeks in a row it couldn't close above. So if it still can't close above next week, then it might need to come back down to the low 300s again and retest this. So don't panic if that's the case, because all it's doing is just buying time before price can just build a base at a higher level and then wait and explode higher. And now we got Palantir. So Palantir, I'm going to first show you the log scale chart just to show you where the next potential log scale level is. The 1.272, 78.13. This could be the next major resistance level. And so far, price has just gravitated towards it. So don't really know if it's going to slow down now, especially when you look at linear scale fib. You can see that it did smash through the 61.18 level where it was resistance. So not only did it get through the 1.272, but also the 1.414. So that's proof that the next target could be the 69.15 on its way towards the 70s. So it could just like wick above there, go into the 70s, and maybe we'll see if it wants to close above the 618. But usually this 1.618, it offers some pretty powerful resistance on the first touch, so I won't be looking for it to break through on the first try, but I think as long as this 61.18 kind of holds as a support down there, then it can just build a base on top and go towards the 69. So it's only $4 away. I can definitely see that coming, but I want to see how price reacts when it gets there. Yes, I do expect it to wick above, but do I expect it to close above next week? I'm not sure. So that's going to be the goal, right? $69 up to maybe 78.13 on log scale. So that is a big range, but I think it's possible to get there within the weeks to come if this momentum can continue and if this 61.18 can hold as a support. And now I got Palantir here on log scale for my log scale GAN. I want to show you how it's developing week over week. So it was a breakout of the arc and never looked back. And now what sits up here? Well, it's in the 80s, right? Enough time passes, it could be in the lower 80s or high 70s as well. So not sure how much time will pass before it gets there, but that's going to be the next target. And again, the next level up top sits around $100. So that is still the target. And as long as this angle holds that support, it'll get there by September of 2025, which it looks like it's really on track to do so. And there's really nothing to report back on this chart except it's super bullish. It is getting kind of overextended. We can put on the Ichimoku. You can see that the conversion line sits down there at $50.78, so it is kind of extended. But yeah, like I said, I just want to see if that $61 level that I showed you with the linear scale, I want to see if that can hold as a support. And if it can just build a base on top of that at a higher level, then I think the 60s, 70s, and 80s are in its near future.